In this video, I'm going to take a look at a fictional West Indies starting 11 if every eligible player were to declare for them. The West Indies are a collection of former English Caribbean colonies banding together in 1928 to create what is now the world's 9th best cricket team. And while 9th in football is significantly harder to reach, after making this side, I genuinely believe that it could be challenging for world titles if it existed. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around to find out why. The actual West Indies cricket team is made up of 15 nations and territories, and I'm going to need official heritage from at least one of those countries for a player to qualify for this team. Just for clarity, let me rattle them off real quick. Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Anguilla, Montserrat, British Virgin Islands, US Virgin Islands, and St. Martin. Okay, so that out the way, I'll be lining up in a 4-2-3-1 formation, which I think gets the most out of this very well-rounded side. And I'll go through the players back to front, starting with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez, Chelsea. Born to a Spanish mother and a Jamaican English father, the 6'6" shot stopper starts us off in goal. While the Chelsea man has had his difficult times as of recent, becoming known as a bit of a liability since signing with his repeated lapses in concentration and costly mistakes, Sanchez has been very solid so far in a turbulent season for the Blues. Following his move from Brighton, Chelsea have managed to sign something like 300 more goalkeepers. Don't fact check that. However, Sanchez has beaten off the competition for #1 spot. At times, you might catch Chelsea fans wondering how bad the other goalkeepers must be for Sanchez to have such an iron grip on the #1 shirt. I do think his consistent presence has been a net positive this season, with Sanchez picking up the second most clean sheets in the league, with 10, only 3 behind compatriot David Raya. With only 3 caps for Spain, it's actually feasible to imagine that Sanchez genuinely would have considered playing for a combined West Indies national team. However, with this idea being very much a pipe dream at the moment, his involvement will have to remain as just an appearance on this list. He actually might be one of the weaker picks in the side, but come on, who else am I gonna pick? Andre Blake? Sorry, Andre, that was unnecessary. Okay, moving on to the left center back. Levi, Colwill, Chelsea. Already the second of many more Chelsea players to feature, Colwill gets his eligibility through his Trinidadian grandmother and Jamaican grandfather. A double whammy then, Levi Colwill gets us started on a very solid defense. While it looked as though he was starting to nail down his place both at Chelsea and for England, Colwill started the season by suffering an ACL in August, ruling him out for the foreseeable future. New boss Liam Sr. has mentioned that he's making good progress on recovery, so the jury is out on whether we'll see him before the end of the season or not. Before his injury, Colwill made 35 Premier League appearances for the Blues, helping to guide them back into Champions League football for the first time since Blue Co took ownership of the club. The left-footed centre-back has become known particularly for his ability on the ball and comfortableness in possession, and while he can lack a bit of aggression at times, Colwill's defensive profile is more akin to a sweeper, using his pace to chase out loose balls in behind. He's made 5 England appearances up to date, and that number would almost certainly be more if it weren't for the ACL. Honestly, the Chelsea youth graduate has faced some serious competition from Barbadian Tyrone Mings and Jamaican Lloyd Kelly, the latter of which is having a great year at Juventus so far. However, I decided to put Colwill's injury aside and base this selection on the player's ability at full fitness, in which Colwill blows both of them out the water. Okay, right center back, Jarrell, Quansah, Leverkusen. The 23-year-old center back who came through Liverpool's academy qualifies as a virtue of his Barbadian grandparent. Also English, Grenadian, and Scottish, Quansah is a bit of a mutt. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but we'll keep going. So you can see a bit of a genuine tug of war for him if he doesn't make it to the level of the English national. After rising into Liverpool's first team, initially under Klopp and then continuing under Arne Slot, Quansah made 52 appearances for Liverpool over all competitions in his time there. Eventually, however, Quansah was dropped by Slot after a halftime sub against Ipswich, in which Klopp was quoted as saying he lost too many duels. Quansah could never really find his feet in the team again after that, culminating in his £35 million summer departure to Bayer Leverkusen. So far, for the 23-24 Bundesliga winners, Quansah has made 28 appearances across all competitions, displaying his calmness on the ball, aerial dominance, and quick turn of pace to a good level. He's made it clear that he's enjoying life in Germany, and it appears Leverkusen fans are enjoying Quansah equally. With his addition then, next to Colwill, we have a really technically gifted, quick center-back partnership, a modern manager's dream, so we can definitely expect to be playing up for the back with a high line and a more possession-oriented style. Left back, Jed Spence, Tottenham. Jed Spence, like the majority of players in this team, as you'll come to find, gets his eligibility through his Jamaican father. Also part Kenyan, the newly capped England international has had a quick rise to stardom after what seemed initially like a failed move to Tottenham. Unfancied by Antonio Conte, getting him famously branded as a club signing, Spence spent 2 years shipped on loan to Rennes and Leeds. Upon returning to the club, now in Ange's second season, it looked as though Spence would have to continue watching from the sidelines. However, after an injury to Pedro Porro, Spence was put into the first team for his Premier League debut after 2 years against struggling Southampton. 90 minutes later, Spence was awarded man of the match with a goal and an assist in a 5-0 drubbing of the Saints. It's fair to say, Spence has not looked back, becoming a crucial player for Spurs, especially due to his versatility versatility, so far playing more games on the left-hand side of the fence than his favorite right. Like I mentioned, this consistency in the Jekyll and Hyde club that is Spurs has awarded Spence with multiple call-ups for Thomas Tuchel's England side, becoming one of the Germans' favorites. Both devastating going forward and rock-solid defensively, we'll see a lot of versatility from Spence. Overlapping, underlapping, and staying back to defend. Right back, Reece James, Chelsea. Speaking of rock solid defensively and devastating going forward, it's Reece James. Qualifying for this team due to his father, who's both Dominican and Grenadan, Reece James is a player I'm pretty confident wouldn't choose to switch over if given the opportunity to play for the West Indies. That's because, as we all know, Reece James is a world-class fullback when he's fit. Yes, I'm sorry, I had to say it because it's true. When he's not dealing with repeated hamstring issues, James is the first name on Chelsea's team sheet and certainly one of the first on Tuchel's mind. His minutes have been managed well this season, playing 23 league games so far, allowing James to remind us just what we've been missing. However, that does not erase the record of his previous seasons off the map. 19 games in 24-25, 10 in 23-24, and 16 in 22-20. A pretty abysmal record. It does look like Reece James is finally turning a new leaf this season though, and I'm sure both England and Chelsea fans alike will be hoping so, with him being far and away the best option for both sides at the moment. So, with Reece James, that completes the back line, and with the addition of him, his back four looks eerily similar to what England could be playing in real life, with the exception of Quansah, of course. It's very modern, very physical, and very technically talented. So let's see how the midfield complements it. Left center mid, Miles Lewis Skelly, Arsenal. Lewis Skelly qualifies for the team not through one avenue, two, or even three, but he actually comes from 4 different West Indies nations. That's easily the most on this list, so naturally I'm going to have to give the Englishman the captain's armband. The 4 nations, by the way, if you're wondering, are Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, and St. Lucia, all through his grandparents. Admittedly, MLS is probably the weakest inclusion on this list, not for a lack of talent, but simply a lack of game time. Lewis Skelly has found it hard to get past Ricardo Calafiore and Pedro Nkapia in the Arsenal lineup so far this season. It's been seen as somewhat of an unfair treatment by Arteta, given Lewis Skelly's performances in the back end of the season last year. However, with the form of the Italian stallion at left back, one can't really blame Arteta for sticking to his guns. I also think I should address the elephant in the room, with Lewis Skelly being put in as a holding midfielder rather than at left back. However, it is the center of the park that Lewis Skelly has played all throughout his youth career, and I wouldn't even be surprised if the 19-year-old himself saw it as his preferred position. After all, he's all the attributes of a top midfielder, with plenty of plaudits going for his positioning, dribbling, vision, and passing ability, all necessary components of the double pivot he'll be playing in. Right center mid, Morgan Gibbs-White, Nottingham Forest. Traditionally operating as a number 10 for Forest, the Stafford-born Englishman with Jamaican roots is going to have to play more of a box-to-box role in this system. I actually feel pretty comfortable doing this as well, because even though Gibbs-White is chiefly known for his excellent attacking talent, vision, and dribbling, he actually possesses a really strong work ethic and defensive ability that sees him getting up and down the pitch anyways for Forest, even if he is deployed as a 10. With a move to Tottenham collapsing in the summer, Gibbs-White has experienced a drop in form this season under short-lived Postecoglou and current manager Dyche. You can't exactly blame the guy given the absolute circus that is Nottingham Forest at the moment, as well as his big move falling through, which is bound to affect the player. Gibbs-White has received 6 caps to date for England. However, he looks to have fallen down the pecking order, being dismissed in favor for players like Eze and Forest teammate Elliot Anderson. Therefore, it's another possible player who may actually choose to join the West Indies national team if it were to be created. I have no doubt the midfielder will bounce back soon enough though, and for the time being, he's more than good enough to play in this midfield. Central attacking midfielder, Cole Palmer, Chelsea. If you didn't realize Cole Palmer has heritage from the small islands of St. Kitts and Nevis, then get your head out the sand. What have you been doing the last year? No, but seriously, if you didn't know or simply forgot, then his inclusion must come as a bit of a surprise. Because, well, Cole Palmer just doesn't look like the kind of guy to come from St. Kitts and Nevis, does he? I mean, just look at the man. There's not even the faintest hint of a tan on that pale face of his. Either way, it's not his looks I'm here to judge, but his footballing talent, and for that I give him a 10 out of 10 every single time. Ever since making his Premier League debut for Chelsea in late 2023, Palmer has gone on to break multiple records, make over 15 England caps, score in the final of the Euros, and win both European and global competitions. Those were the Conference League and the Club World Cup, but don't tell Palmer, because I'm pretty sure he still thinks he's won an actual World Cup. The fourth and final Chelsea player in this 11, Palmer is the only player here I can comfortably say is world class. And even though he hasn't been able to match his output of his debut campaign with the Blues, I'd personally put that down more to the increase in tactical rigidity seen under Maresca compared to Pochettino. Hate him or love him, Cole Palmer is the undoubted star of this 11. Left wing, Marcus Rashford, Barcelona. Our second player who has qualified through St. Kitts and Nevis now. Rashford also has ties to Jamaica through his father. Obviously, when it comes to ups and downs, there aren't many players in recent times who could come close to Marcus Rashford, Always seen as a bit of a purple patch player, Rashford was known for chopping and changing from borderline world class to completely average in the space of mere games. However, it's been much more of the latter as of recent. That is, however, up until recently when Rashford continued the divorce from boyhood club Man United, moving to join Barcelona on loan. Rashford has been electric for Barca this season, showing the football community much of what he's been missing the last few seasons. Scoring goals from range, using his pace to beat fullbacks, and even providing a multitude of chances for teammates, Rashford has been reborn for Barcelona this season and looks committed to stay even after the expiration of his loan. Currently, Rashford looks the most likely to start for Tuchel's team on the left-hand side at the World Cup, taking the place over the likes of out-of-form Anthony Gordon or Eze. That already shows how huge a difference 6 months can make, given where Rashford was a year ago, completely unable to find himself in this side. We'll see if Rashford's form can continue, but he definitely takes his place on the left wing in this side. Right wing, Mason Greenwood, Marseille. I just want to caveat this by saying I don't particularly like Greenwood as a person. However, I'm just going to stick to football in this section and stay as objective as possible. So saying that, Greenwood qualifies through Jamaica, being the only player on this list to actually represent the team he qualified through in real life. Having come through the same academy as his wing partner Rashford, Greenwood currently finds himself starring in Ligue 1 for Marseille. The English-born Jamaican has been a fan favorite so far under Roberto De Zerbi over the last 2 seasons, with this one being his best yet. So far, Greenwood has provided 17 goals and 5 assists in 29 matches across all competitions, on course to beat his record of 22-6 in 36 last year. Now just a season and a half on from his reported £35 million move to join Marseille from Man United, Greenwood has seen himself linked with the likes of Atletico and Real Madrid for a reported £80 million. That would by far make him the most expensive Jamaican export ever, and something tells me that Greenwood would make a pretty good fit for Atletico. However, enough of that. As divisive as he is, Greenwood will take up the right wing spot for this team. Last but not least, striker, Ollie Watkins, Aston Villa. It was a toss-up between him and St. Vincent and the Grenadines related forward Ivan Toney. However, following Toney's move to Saudi Arabia, I kind of have to pick the forward who's still playing in a competitive league. Ollie Watkins will lead the line then, much like he's leading the line this season for Aston Villa, making it through courtesy of his Jamaican roots. Much like many of the names on this list, Watkins has become a staple of the England setup, famously netting that last-minute winner in Euro 2024 semi-final. For Villa, he's been nothing short of a revelation under Unai Emery, consistently hitting double digits for both goals and assists, a feat that puts him in the same bracket as the league's most elite playmakers. While he may not have the raw, scary pace of a prime Rashford, his movement off the ball is one of the best in the world right now, consistently dragging defenders out of position to create gaps for teammates to exploit. He's the perfect focal point for this team, hardworking, clinical, and humble. With Watkins up top, this West Indies side has the clinical edge needed to put those world titles on the mantelpiece. So yeah, there it is. The starting 11 for a potential West Indies team, if everyone could play who's eligible. So just going through it again, that's goalkeeper Robert Sanchez, left center back Levi Colwill, right center back Jarrell Quansah, left back Jed Spence, right back Reece James, left center mid Miles Lewis-Skelly, right center mid Morgan Gibbs-White, attacking midfielder Cole Palmer, left wing Rashford, right wing Mason Greenwood, and striker Ollie Watkins. I mean, looking at it, it is basically just England's B team with a couple starters. However, England is a pretty good team on paper as it is, so I think England's B team would still do pretty well in an international setting. Let me know how good you think this team looks. Where do you think it'd rank in FIFA's coefficients? I think it'd be probably top 10. It looks about that to me anyways. But yeah, other than that, guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Let me know what I can do better to improve. This is only my 3rd video ever. So I would really appreciate some feedback. Other than that, check out some of the other videos I've done. I've done 2 others now. And I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.